Alright, darlings, how the devil are you? The weekend's ahead of us, so I thought we'd talk about some horror things that are coming around the corner, and one that caught my eye is a cowboy western game called The Weird West. And I didn't actually know this, but the term Weird West is actually a term to describe hybrid genres of westerns. So you've got like horror western and science fiction western and even fantasy western. So it's made by Wolf Eye Studios and it's done by Devolver. Devolver tend to pick up games that are pretty good, but we're going to talk through and see what Weird West is all about. So at its heart, it is a top-down action RPG and it's placed in that world of dark fantasy. So basically imagine a western with vampires and werewolves and even necromancy and magic. And in terms of its looks and feels, it's actually taken a few pages from Borderlands. So imagine those nice simple palette colours put into a cel-shaded format. So imagine Space Punks, but an actually good game. I don't usually talk about art and promo material of a game, but so far what they've put out has been really, really good. And it's probably why it's caught my eye. So the game isn't based around just one character. There's actually 5 of them in the game. And these include a bounty hunter, a preacher, a werewolf, a pigman, and an archer. And each one of them's got its own story, and at the end there's a big reason why you play all 5 of them, and then they meet up and there's a big, dun 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 moment. Now I do want to mention, if you've watched any of the footage, you'll notice that your character seems to run around like it's on an ice rink, and this is because it's a twin stick shooter. Now I haven't seen a twin stick shooter that doesn't look slightly odd in terms of character movement, like the character doesn't really connect to the floor that it's moving on. And because this is a pretty well documented genre, I feel that people will be kind of used to this whole thing anyway. Now, one of the big hoo-has about the game that they really are pushing is the fact that this is a sandbox ARPG and you can interact with absolutely everything. So if you can see something and you feel like you can set up a scenario, then you can do it. Now, I don't know how much of this is big dev talk and most of it being, set up scenarios that you see them and you go, oh, I could do like this, but they actually pre-planned it anyway. But there are examples of all sorts of things, so that, they've got that whole, you can run and gun, you can, go stealth, you can distract someone with a bottle and run up and, put them in the grave. Or alternatively, you can spill a barrel of oil and then shoot it and set it on fire and all those funky kind of things. And to be honest, even if it is scripted, from what I've seen, the environments do have a lot of kind of interactivity, and I like the idea that if you want to play it stealth, then you can. If you want to go and run and gun, then you can also do that. Now, one of the things for ARPGs for me is all about loot. I just like picking up items and upgrading and having my slots filled with all shiny yellow legendary items, and it looks like they've done a really good job on this front. Looking at the inventory system, it looks really clean. They've got a great art system all around it. You've got different abilities that you can unlock. There's perks you can unlock. There's lore notes if you're into that. And then there's a world map that's absolutely huge with tons of locations that you can visit. And additionally, there's also a status system and a reputation system. Now, I'm not sure how the reputation system works, but from the statuses, there's other things that you can unlock. I guess you get them from items because there's poison resistance and there's lightning resistance, and I guess other statuses down the line as well. In terms of criticisms, I can't really give it too much of a poke because I'm only basing this on trailer and gameplay videos that I have seen. Now, some of the animations and movement feels a little bit janky and telegraphed, and the other thing that is a bit of an unknown at the moment is just how the 5 different characters tie in together, and whether or not that they've gone a little bit too overboard by having too many characters, and you end up with a situation where you've got one really strong character who feels like it's been really fleshed out and developed, and then later on down the line there's one that just feels a bit rubbish and maybe rushed a little bit too much. I'm very much hoping that's not the case, but we'll just have to wait and see and find out when it finally comes out in January 2022. Now, if you want to pre-order the game, it is currently about, I think, $40 or £30, and it comes out on the 11th of January, as previously said. If you do that now, apparently you get an in-game horse called Calamity, and it's basically a mule that allows you to carry extra gear and comes out with a whole load of extra goodies for you to use while you're running around in the actual game. Whether or not it's worth it, I have no idea, but when the full game comes out, I will do a review of it and let you know whether or not it's actually worth buying or not, because £30, even though it's not that expensive compared to most games these days, it's still a fair chunk of change and you want to just go around throwing it out willy-nilly. Anyway, let me know if you're interested in picking this up. We'll do a more fleshed out discussion when the actual game gets released in January, but for now, have a great week and I'll talk to you all soon.